Hello gamers, it's SoftKitty99 and today we're in Parkitect. In the last couple of episodes we took a look at Orchard Acres and Coaster Canyon, which were both two very different parks. So the next one to do is Hickory Hill. Originally a nature preserve, this park must abide by local laws preventing structures to be built above tree height. Use the hilly terrain to your advantage by building close to the ground. Have an experiences rating of at least 80%. Have an overall park rating of at least 85%. Optional, sell at least 600 park tickets. And optional, complete all non-optional goals by the end of year 2 in June. Now, I did complete the scenario, but not in the time limit. This is quite an interesting one, because it's got some interesting features. Once you start with this park, you'll find that there's a lot of things that have been relatively destroyed, to be honest. It looks like there's been a lot of vandalism and there's trash all over the place. It's got a great big long looping road that traverses a huge amount of distance, and it's pretty much impossible to cut parts of the travelling on the road out because you start with a couple of rides. Now, the rides, if I can zoom out far enough for you to see it, the park starts with this train. See the train coming here under the bridge? Now this train loops all the way around the edge of the park. If you see the train, it loops around here. And you've got one station here for the train, and then the train goes through a little tunnel, comes out here, goes through another little tunnel, comes out here, goes all the way around here to the second station, and then just trundles all the way back round. So you've got two stations for this transport train, and then you can see this long road that goes all the way around here, all the way down here, and all the way back round out here. And you can't really cut that off because of the fact that right at this far end of the park also starts with this big roller coaster. And that's a big beautiful roller coaster. I mean, look at this. It comes all the way out here, zooms all the way around and round and round. It's got this big loop over in this direction as well, and here you've got this beautiful train station, if I can zoom that down, that comes with the park when you first get it. And see, that's rather beautiful, don't you see? Let's rotate around. Look at this tower. That's a beautiful structure, isn't it? So you really have to keep this open, so you really have to keep all the roads open. And of course when you first start, you can't afford tons and tons of engineers to repair the broken seating and lamps and things all the way around, and you also can't afford to buy lots and lots of cleaners to get everything cleaned up. So as people start to come into your park, they get upset because everything's a mess, and that makes it really difficult to complete the goals in the time limit that you're given. And there's a beautiful little train. So this is a rather interesting scenario, and it takes quite a long time to kind of get to grips with it, and that makes it really hard to beat the time frame. So this is the entrance to the park right here, and as you can see, the first thing it does is go underneath your little transport train track. So you've got that interaction right at the beginning, but also that means that there's not really much space for adding much before the train. So we've just got a few trees in to make it look pretty, and then you come straight underneath the train track. I've got the information kiosk right next to it, and a little toilet and a little vending machine here hidden underneath this little pavilion. Because it's the excuse me, at the start of the park you always want a little coast at the start of the park you always want some nice entertaining little ride, and I always think a carousel is probably one of the best things to have as soon as you start the entrance to a park. And then I've fit in quite a lot of stuff right close to the entrance here. So we've got a carousel, and we've got a twister, and then right next to that we've got an enterprise, and then we've got a turbine to flip you up and down. So we've got a lot of things really in a small amount of space. We've got a very calm ride, we've got a sort of medium intensity ride, quite a thrilling ride here, and definitely a thrilling ride right here. And then right next to that we have a load of shops. So we've got a let me drop the roof down so that you can see we've added lots of facilities. So we've got trash disposal, we've got the goods delivery thing to come through the transport tubes to save on running around, and we've got staff rooms in all of these little places as well. We've got ice cream, pretzels, pizza, hot drinks and hot dogs, as well as the vending machine just on the edge of it, and all the facilities that the staff need. We've also zoned off the areas because we've got such a huge area to walk around here. Added another info kiosk, just don't want people to get lost. And then we've got the first station for the transport ride here, so that people can shunt themselves all the way over to the other side of the park. Gosh, that turbine thing, I really don't fancy one of those. Oh, if we keep going down in this direction, I've added a spinning coaster. I've just clicked on the person, not on the coaster. It's a pre-built one. It's called Valley Rally, if you want to build that one in your park. So let's just have a look at how this works. And it interacts quite well with the train line here. Look, we've got the train running right underneath it. And this, I use this particular build because I've not got that much space. As you can see, it's quite a narrow patch of space. And I did try building one myself, but I really struggled to fit into this gap. So I utilised the one that's pre-built, because it just saved me a lot of time. Oh no, don't rain. And if we come, just keep coming this way, as you can see we swept to a staff path, and there's actually a little fence down here as well. You can't see that quite so well. There's a little fence. Let's zoom in a little bit. There's a little fence here and then a staff path. And if you look at this, you've got this really long staff path that you really can't do anything about, but it goes on and 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 on. Finally to the goods delivery depot and the only staff room that the game came with. So I really don't want the staff to be utilising this area because it's such a long walk that they'll be missing forever if they try to use that staff room or try and carry the things, hence why we've got all the facilities built into the little food court that we've got here. And then opposite our spinning coaster we've added a tourbillon. Sorry about the rain, but at least you can see the lights on things with the rain. See, I quite like the running LED lights on these things across here, so that's quite pretty, you see. So this is the first run along this first line here is what we've just looked at. We've got the spinning coaster, the tourbillon, the turbine, the first of the stations, food court, and we've got a nice selection of different intensity of rides along there. So now if we come in the opposite direction, up past the toilets and the twister, here you can see we've got a bridge that goes over the train line, so again we've got that interaction, and over here we've got a star shape spinning the people upside down, so that is a lot of intensity on that one. And over on here I've got a pre-built ride. It's one of the car rides. This time it's the West Villa, if you want to build that one for yourself. It's a beautiful structure, and there is no way I'd build something that great. So that's absolutely beautiful. So we've got a high intensity ride and a low intensity ride here. So we've got a kiddie ride or a family ride, more something for the low intensity people, right next to the big intensity thing, and that utilises this bit of land that we've got at the opposite side of the train track, because otherwise it's kind of difficult to access that piece of land. So I'm quite proud of these walkways and things to link the two together and to get the interaction with the train and come back down here. So that drops you off opposite the twister, and then this big path keeps going around here, and we've got another intense ride, this time the topple tower. Love how they get on this, they've got this sort of circle round and spiral up to be able to get into the seats. I love that, I think that's so cute. And then I've added a wooden walkway across here to interact with the edge of the lake, and we've got access here to a transformer, so again intensity there, and the Enchanted Racers, which is a really compact layout that's in the pre-built section for the go-karts, so that you can add in quite a good ride in a really small space. And if you keep following this path back round, it comes back to where we have that original food court that we looked at, and here, tucked into here, we've got the Alpine coaster going up onto the hill structure, like the blurb told us, for this particular place we want to try and build within the confines of the hills, so an alpine coaster is absolutely the perfect thing to add in to utilise the terrain that you've got. And because it comes quite close to the tourbillon, it kind of interacts with that ride, and it interacts with our great big enormous coaster that the park itself came with. And it's about the only thing I could actually manage to squeeze into the space that we've got left here between the coaster and everything else, where it's really hard to access the rest of this land. As you can see, the train goes underneath this hillside that we've got our alpine coaster and our huge key ride structure on. So as they're coming out of the station, why don't we follow these guys round the key mark or premier coaster in our park, which is the one that the park itself came with, so that you can see just how big this ride is, which is why you're really going to make a lot of your money from this park off this coaster. And the other rides are to bring the people in to get them on this coaster really, and also to try and give a range of different intensity of rides to keep everyone happy. This is absolutely a fantastic coaster, but it does take up a huge amount of the space in your park. And there we go, back through the station, and they've got that interaction with some of these other buildings and some of the other rides as we go around. And I will show you the rest of the park after we've had a quick look at this. And there's the interaction with the railway. A couple of times it interacts with the little transport railway. And there they've even built the second place to come in and out. So that's the end of that ride, the keynote ride. Now see this building here, it's actually set up for the initial coaster to go through it, and it also looked like it was a space where you would maybe keep your secondary train to add onto your coaster track. But what I've done is I've utilised this space to add in another wooden coaster, and this time the coaster comes from here and goes around at the back side of the park. Now can I I'm going to have to wait for them to go into the station act to be able to watch that one go round. There's the edge of the station, boys. Now we've only got one train on this one I think as well, so can we follow it round? I hope it won't take them too long to get everybody on and off the ride, so that you can see this secondary coaster, so we can add as much space as we can. So I did an awful lot of twiddling around with this ride to get the second ride in and to add the space, and to also leave access underneath these coasters to get to the transport train. It was a lot of trouble to make sure that we could still have access to the transport train around the back here. Can we go, guys? Can we yes, here we go, we can watch the second coaster that we added around the back. As like I said, one of the big things was to fit as many things in as possible, and to make sure that everything had access, and to make sure everything was clean and tidy to keep everyone happy. And that was one of the big struggles, was to make everyone happy and to keep those happiness ratings up. That was really difficult in this particular scenario. Right, so here we go. A little bit slow at the start, I'm afraid, on this one, but I did struggle to actually get something built in here. And as you can see, because I did most of the building myself, it's maybe it's not the best structure or the best ride in the world, but trying to fit it in around everything else, I found it a very, very difficult thing to try and do. It was interesting, and it wouldn't have been interesting for you to watch, because I kept having to delete and rebuild and delete and rebuild, and it just went on forever and ever and ever. Anyway, and there you can see I've added another spinning coaster at the back of these rides, just to try and utilise as much space as we could. So the access points to that go underneath the ride, right underneath just where they've just gone past, as you can see. And there we interact again with the train at the end. Turn around and dip back down again and up and around, and then we're heading back into the last little turn section to get back into the station. And there we go, that's the second ride. And then if we go around underneath, see underneath, you can see that we've got the path coming underneath here. We even got a little tunnel there up into the station for the transport ride, and then this tunnel here splits off from access to the station for your train. It comes underneath the train line and then lets you out here so that you have access to this little jolly spinner, which again is a pre-built ride for just a little spinning coaster that was stuck round at the back to utilise the last little bit of section right next to the fence up here. Oh, it's so dark. So if we come back to our keynote rides round here, so there's the bobsled, here's the station for the big wooden coaster, we've got a jumper right in front of that, and the pirate ship, the swinging ship right at the side of the water. I always love having these pirate ships at the side of the water because I just think that that's the best place for them to be. And then if you keep following this path round, this is where the path joins to come to the big coaster that the game comes with. And we've added the swan boats out onto the lake and the Ferris wheel so that you can see both out over the water and onto this beautiful building for the trains, and you can see both of the wooden coasters here from the Ferris wheel. And if you keep coming around here, that's access point for both of the Ferris wheels, and then you go underneath the trains to get to the train station and the spinning coaster over here. If you keep going around here, there's a if I spin all the way around here, we've got the slide, the big spiral slide just out over the edge of the water. And if I zoom in a little, no, don't spin, going back, zoom in a little bit, Kitty. Here we've got a second food court built underneath the wooden coaster here, and you see the access point there to the walkway under the coaster to get to the train, transport train, and the spinning coaster at the back that we were just looking at. And we've got here the pizza, the ice cream, the hot drinks, the hot dogs, and a toilet. And if I can hide the scenery for you, you can see around the back we've got the goods in depot around the back there as well, for the staff to not have to walk too far to make sure that the shops are stocked up, even though they are having a little bit of trouble getting all the stock in. Where are our staff? Where are our haulers? Taking a break, too tired to work. That's probably what the problem is, isn't it, guys? Yeah, we'll leave them to it. So if we zoom back out just a little bit, keep following this big long road. As you can see how big this long road is, it just goes on and on and on and on forever. And then we've got another food court here. So yes, the two food courts are quite close together, but I just wanted that extra bit of space underneath the coaster to be utilised as much as we could. Here we've got a staff room, trash chute, the goods delivery here, and then we've got like a walk-in food court with a few seats in the centre of it here, looks for people to sit down. And we've got the vending machine, hot dogs, hot drinks, information, ice cream, pretzels, pizza, and then the staff have got access to all the back areas for the shops. And then right outside the front we've got this big seating area underneath the pavilions so that people can both be protected from rain while they sit and eat, and they've got the view out over the lake. And then right next to this we've got the Rhine River log flume. So you come out of the station, go a little lift hill, and then you have a little meander around on a higher level before you drop down to the lower level again, and then meander around and then drop a little bit further before you come back to the station. So you meander around up here, little drop here, meander around again, meander around, and then back to the station. And of course the people sitting eating their food can watch the people in the pedal boats and on the log fume. There we go, a little drop. And then here we've got a few flowers to keep everything pretty, and then we've got another set of toilets, and then this brings you back round where the topple tower is. So that is a quick tour of my park. So let me just give you a quick overview of the whole park if I can. How far out can we zoom? As you can see, the park is quite big area wise. So over here at the back we've got our coasters, our spinner, our two woodies, and we've got the little lake with our boating and our log flume and our pirate ship, and we've got the spiral slide. We've got loads of places for you to eat, and I think our staff are having a bit of trouble over there, and then we've got lots and lots of rides around the park to keep everyone happy. Down here to the goods in place over here, lots and lots of rides in this section, and then right over near the entrance. And this was, I'd say, the most difficult one so far, and it was a lot of fun, but it was also really difficult. And I hope you've enjoyed today's little tour of the park that I built for this one. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. From SoftKitty 99, goodbye and happy gaming!